and welcome back to another episode of the greatest show in the galaxy. The show where I, the curator, discuss my personal favorite show of all time, personal favorite franchise of all time, Doctor Who. Today will be the second half of the Before the Doctor and After the Doctor sort of side mini-series that I decided to do this month. Originally, I had completely different plans for this month, but Ncuti Gatwa was cast as the 14th Doctor, and then I was forced to change my plans, mainly for the one episode of last month and the entirety of this month. So I will just be sitting here talking all about roles that the actors / actresses, in this case particularly, have taken on before and after getting cast as the titular character of the Doctor. However, first of all, before we get into any of that, we have the usual birthday corner, which I really should get a graphic for at some point in the near future. Starting us off, we have on June 7th, we have Sarah Parrish. I believe that's the correct pronunciation of her name. She played the Empress of the Rachnos in Donna Noble's debut episode, The Runaway Bride. Also, June 7th, we have Nisha Nayar. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name. She is pretty recognizable in this picture. She played a female programmer in Christopher Eccleston's final two-parter episode, Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways. She also has a small handful of Big Finish credits. However, the one thing that really did capture my eye is that she also played a uncredited Red Kang in the Sylvester McCoy episode Paradise Towers, which I happen to really, really love. And I love the Red Kangs and Blue Kangs specifically, so I decided to put her on the list. So, sue me. Next, on June 8th, we have the big one, the man himself, probably the most recognizable name on this list for this week. It's Colin Baker, the sixth Doctor. Almost said seventh. Actually, that was because I was talking about the seventh Doctor. The sixth Doctor, my favorite of the Big Finish Doctors so far. Obviously, Colin Baker unfortunately got the role of Doctor Who during a very uneasy and very turbulent time for the show, and it didn't really make it easier on him because since he got cast, things got even more difficult for the show and for the person playing the title character. In particular, the show came on fire during his run during a substantial rise of violence, and a lot of bad stuff happened to poor Colin while he was playing the Doctor. The show was put on an 18-month hiatus during his run. It miraculously came back through a massive fan backlash, but even then, that wasn't enough to save his Doctor, his run as the Doctor. He was unceremoniously removed from the show and replaced with the aforementioned Sylvester McCoy as the seventh Doctor. As I mentioned previously, he has returned to the role several times in Big Finish productions. He has, in many ways, got his second coming as the sixth Doctor, which I'm incredibly happy for him that he did. Hold on. Still trying to get used to doing this. Okay, so next, also on June 8th, we have Peter Grimwade. He was a production assistant, director, and writer for various different episodes and serials during the third, fourth, and fifth Doctors. On June 9th, we have David Troughton, very familiar name. He is the son of the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton, but he also has several different credits from Doctor Who. He appeared in several episodes, including The Enemy of the World and The War Games, alongside his father, Patrick Troughton, obviously he was then cast as King Peladon of Peladon from the episode The Curse of Peladon and its Big Finish sequel, The Prisoner of Peladon. And he also played Professor Winfold Hobbs in the 10th Doctor episode Midnight. He was also, interestingly enough, he also played the Black Guardian in Big Finish's The Key to Time serials. Not The Key to Time, The Key to Time. Because that was the second time that The Key to Time has been brought up in Doctor Who. Next up, we have on June 11th, we have Kit Pelder. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name, but he is the original creator of the Cybermen. He is credited as creator of the Cybermen for pretty much every episode that features the Cybermen, especially in the modern era of the show. And he also wrote The 10th Planet, The Moon Base, and The Tomb of the Cybermen, amongst many other episodes featuring the Cybermen on television. And finally, on June 13th, we have Simon Callow. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. He played Charles Dickens in the Unquiet Dead, as well as reprising his role in The Wedding of River Song. He also, and I'm finding it out just today, which is a bit of a shocker for me, he also voiced a Blethereen in the Sarah Jane Adventures episode The Gift. So yeah, that's a pretty interesting list of credits there for this person. So now going back all the way throughout the list, we have from Sarah Parrish, Nisha Nayar, Colin Baker, Peter Grimwade, David Troughton, Kit Pelder, and Simon Callow. Thank you all. We quite literally could not do this without you. Now, on to the main topic of today's episode. We have, interestingly enough, we have less doctors to talk about than last week, and yet somehow we have more projects that they were involved with. Yeah, it's sort of weird how these things sometimes tend to happen. I did think I was under the wonderful delusion that things will be actually easier for this week, but turns out it wasn't. I'm just going to put the mouse over here so it'll be easier for me to talk about these things. And starting us off, we have obviously the man who brought Doctor Who back. As far as the acting goes, not as far as the showrunning goes, we have Christopher Eccleston, the Ninth Doctor, the man who started this new run of the modern era of the show. He actually got his first big major break in a film called Let Him Have It. So yeah, this is his first big major role. He also has a small. He also has appeared in a much smaller movie directed by Danny Boyle called Shallow Grave. His next big major roles, movie roles I should say, include Jude, Elizabeth, Existence, Gone in 60 Seconds, and 24-hour Party People, and 28 Days Later. Fun fact, in Jude, we will be revisiting this later on in this very episode, he also has a scene where he appears alongside his successor, the 10th Doctor, David Tennant. Then he also has a couple of major roles in two independent films, namely A Price Above Rubies and Invisible Circus. So that's more or less it for the Ninth Doctor. Prior to being cast as the Ninth Doctor, he also has appeared in various different radio plays and theater and stage performances. Obviously, as soon as he was cast as the Ninth Doctor, things were pretty turbulent, to say the least. He has, I apologize, I did upload a picture earlier, but for some reason, About half of the pictures I uploaded were deleted for some reason because StreamYard hates me and they likes to do these things to me. But he also has a major role in a mini series called The Second Coming, which was primarily written and produced by Russell T Davies, which is how him and Russell T Davies were on relatively good terms, or rather friendly terms, right before the Doctor Who. That's how he got Russell T Davies's contact information prior to landing the role of the Ninth Doctor, and that's how he was he got an audition to play the Ninth Doctor in a scene in an audition scene alongside Billy Piper, and a plastic alt on hand, and that's mainly how he got the role. Unfortunately, things really went south for the relationship between Eccleston and Davies as soon as production of the series one of the rebooted series began. He really disagreed with Russell T Davies and Julie Gardner, and I believe also Phil Collinson and several different other people who run Doctor Who, or rather used to run Doctor Who at the time, and to the point where he just didn't want to do the role anymore. I'm pretty sure most of what I'm saying right now is already common knowledge, but he agreed with Russell T and the production team that he would be very quietly stepping down from the show, but he asked them very in as much of a civil way as possible to not announce his departure from the show until after it was after the first season was out, and I believe it was announced like a day or a week after the debut of Rose, the first episode, where the BBC put out this statement claiming that he's stepping down from the role because he's tired, which really did not sit well with him, and that's why he has refrained from appearing in Doctor Who for the most part ever since. He just had a really bad experience on set and off set, and he really did not like the response that the BBC had to him leaving. He did not really accept their apology. But very recently, he has returned to Doctor Who in the form of Big Finish. He has released several different Big Finish episodes since, and he has stated in a recent convention, I should say, where if you want him back, you get him on his own, which could be nothing, but personally, I see this as a maybe he could possibly return to play the Doctor, the Ninth Doctor, I should say, on television once again in live action, just completely on his own with no other actors playing the Doctor in it, which, like I said, it's a maybe, but we'll just have to wait and see. In any case, after leaving the role of the Doctor, he has appeared in several different roles on both television and movies. For the most part, he has appeared in various different Shakespeare-related plays, but he also has made an appearance in The Shadow Line and a movie called Song for Marion. Obviously, for the most part, people mainly remember him, or rather, mainly remember his post-Doctor Who career as playing two unsuccessful villains in very much benign movie franchises. The first of which playing Destro in the G.I. Joe movies, G.I. Joe and G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, as well as playing the Dark Elf Malekith in Thor: The Dark World. He also has played John Lennon in a BBC, I believe it was directed to DVD drama called Lennon Naked, alongside Naoko Mori as Yoko Ono. For those of you who don't know, Naoko Mori played the character of Toshiko Sato on Torchwood. However, she also has appeared very briefly in Doctor Who in the episode Aliens of London. She was the doctor taking care of the alien pig from the Slitheen ship, and it was later confirmed by Russell T Davies that it was she was actually the same character. She was actually playing the same character. Uh, his arguably his best and most notable role since leaving the Doctor is playing the grandfather character in the BBC drama The A Ward. I believe that show has 3 seasons. He also has made appearances in two films, namely Dead in a Week and Where Hands Touch. And I believe he also was nominated for various different awards, including the BAFTA for at least one of those two movies. Moving on, we have his immediate successor and my personal favorite Doctor, David Tennant. Obviously, there is, I believe, one role that most people are mainly familiar with from David Tennant from his time before playing the 10th Doctor, but his first role, his debut, his debut role was was he made various appearances on various smaller television shows, but his first major role. Well, let me see. Yep, that was his first major role in a show simply titled "Taken Over the Asylum." Uh, he also has made appearances on various movies, namely Bridget Young, Blackpool, and Casanova. He also has a long list of Shakespearean stage roles, including the likes of playing Romeo in Romeo and Juliet. He played Hamlet. He was in Macbeth, and he also played the character of Antipholus in a series of comedy of errors. Sorry, I was familiar with the play from a different name, so I apologize if I stumble over my words right there. But yeah, these were mainly the few roles that he has had in various movies prior to being cast as the Doctor. Also, see on the very same year that he was announced and cast as the 10th Doctor, he has played very briefly the character of Barty Crouch Jr. in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Now, the interesting part about that is in the Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire book, Barty Crouch Jr. dies at the hands of a Dementor, or rather, to the kiss of a Dementor, in a chapter called The Parting of the Ways. Christopher Eccleston's 9th Doctor regenerates into his 10th Doctor, played by David Tennant, in an episode literally titled The Parting of the Ways. Both played by David Tennant, both came out, and rather, the movie and the episode both came out in 2005. Coincidence? Maybe. I don't know. But since leaving the role of the Doctor, rather, I should say, while he was still playing the 10th Doctor, he has appeared in two sequel movies, namely St. Trinidad's 2 and Nativity 2. I have no idea what these movies are. I have never heard of them before doing my research specifically for today's episode. However, David Tennant's acting career has certainly not slowed down after playing the 10th Doctor. As a matter of fact, it only has accelerated in the years since. He has appeared in the show Broadchurch alongside another Doctor that we will be mentioning later down the line in this very same episode. He also played a major role in the movie The Escape Artist. Actually, it's I can't remember. I'm not sure if it's a movie or if it's a series, but he also has appeared in a movie titled What We Did on Our Holiday. He also very notably played the villainous character Kilgrave, also known as the Purple Man, for Netflix Marvel show Jessica Jones. He appeared in one season, as well as I believe he made a special guest appearance in season 2, and nowhere to be found in season 3. And At around the same time, he also landed the iconic role of Scrooge McDuck in the DuckTales reboot for Disney. He also made an appearance in a movie titled uh, Deadwater Fell. And I can't remember if it's a movie or if it's a show. I apologize. Certain things have happened behind the scenes that really threw me off. I had everything prepared before going live to record this, but certain things have happened. So yeah, please bear with me as I try to stumble my way through the remaining few projects we have left to talk about today. And obviously, and most notably, I should say, recently, David Tennant can be found in two very exciting TV projects, namely Good Omens, as well as Around the World in 80 Days. The man just keeps uh, going from one iconic role to the next. And speaking of iconic roles, now we have to talk about the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, my second personal favorite Doctor of all time. And weirdly enough, or rather, which makes things easier for me, he had the uh, the smallest list of roles prior to being cast as the Doctor out of all the Doctors on this list. Well, most of the Doctors on this list that we will be discussing today, which, as I mentioned, just makes things easier for me. His first big major breakout role was in a show called Party Animals. You can see him right there on the poster. He also made two appearances on two movies. Two movie adaptations of the Sally Lockhart books, namely The Ruby in the Smoke and The Shadow in the North. And right leading up to him getting cast as, or rather announced as the 11th Doctor, he has made small roles. So he has a small role in a movie titled, in the movie In Bruges, as well as two lesser-known short films, Together and Womb. And I believe very closely to towards the end of his tenure as the 11th Doctor, he was set to star in Ryan Gosling's directorial debut, Lost River. Obviously, Matt Smith was, or rather, has played the Doctor through all the way through the show's 50th anniversary, alongside his predecessor, the aforementioned David Tennant, and the episode, his penultimate episode, sort of introduced his immediate successor, Peter Capaldi. He also did appear kind of, sort of, maybe alongside his immediate successor, Peter Capaldi, in Capaldi's debut episode, um, Deep Breath. I almost said Dark Water. That's a completely different Capaldi episode. But yeah, that was, technically speaking, his last appearance on Doctor Who to date. Quick reminder, the 60th anniversary is coming up. It's actually right around the corner, so we might actually get to see both David Tennant, well, we already know we are getting Tennant back in Doctor Who for the 60th, and we might also be able to see Matt Smith reprise his role as the 11th Doctor very, very soon. But yeah, fingers crossed. Same thing goes for Eccleston. Now, obviously, since leaving the role of the 11th Doctor on Doctor Who, he has had two major notable appearances on television, or rather one and a half, I should say. First of which is Prince Philip on the Netflix show The Crown, and he has a big major role in the upcoming Game of Thrones prequel series, The House of the Dragon. His movie career hasn't exactly been the brightest. He has appeared in a movie that a lot of people do not like, but they do praise his appearance in that movie, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. He also has a very, very disturbingly small role in Terminator Genesis, the fifth movie in the Terminator franchise, and he also has two very recent roles in Morbius and last night in Soho from Edgar Wright. So that's really it for Matt Smith, the 11th Doctor. Next, we in somewhat of a sharp turn of events, we went from the Doctor with the smallest list of credits prior to being cast as the Doctor to the actor with the biggest list of credits prior to being cast as the Doctor. And while Matt Smith's acting career has certainly made things a lot easier for me compiling this list for today's episode, his successor, Peter Capaldi, has definitely made things much more difficult for me. But I will try to power through as I have done for the previous two Doctors, or rather, sorry, the previous three Doctors. Capaldi's main debut role was in a TV series called in a film called Local Hero. Give me 1 second as I get my notes together for a quick second. Yeah, he has made several smaller appearances in the movie John and Yoko, a love story, not as John Lennon, but rather as George Harrison, the one of the other Beatles. Interestingly enough, we have had a Doctor that has appeared in a Lennon biopic playing Lennon, and we also have a Doctor who has appeared in another sort of John Lennon biopic playing a completely different Doctor. He also has appeared in various movies, namely Dangerous Liaisons, The Lair of the White Storm, and Neil Gaiman's Neverwhere. He also has hold on. He also, and this is something pretty interesting that I never actually knew until today, but he actually did audition for the role of Captain Benjamin Sisko in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which just, if he had gone, we talked last week's episode about the fact that Tom Baker was at one point rumored to play Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings series, while Sylvester McCoy was at one point Peter Jackson's first choice to play Bilbo Baggins in that very same movie series. Just imagining Peter Capaldi as having played both a captain in Star Trek and one of the Doctors is just, again, another one of those images that can't really quite leave my brain for some reason. He also has appeared in a TV show called The Crow Road, as well as writing, directing, and occasionally starring in three lesser-known short films, namely Soft Top, Hard Shoulder, Frank Capra's It's a Wonderful Life, and Sincerely Sinatra. I believe you also won an Oscar for at least one of those. He also then had several appearances in smaller, lesser-known TV projects, namely Skins, Fallen Angels, and The Devil's Whore. He also has a big major voice role in an animated movie simply titled Haunted Hagonomy. I apologize, it's a very hard word to pronounce. And right leading up to his appearance as the 12th Doctor, he has appeared in a movie titled The Fifth Estate, and he also has appeared in both the Paddington movies as Paddington's neighbor. In my opinion, Peter Capaldi is the most underrated Doctor of all time. I mentioned previously that Colin Baker's run as the... Sorry, I am still recovering from a sore throat, so I apologize for that. But I mentioned earlier that Colin Baker was sorry, his run as the Doctor was cut short due to things that not necessarily were under his control. Peter Capaldi, I believe, has gotten really the brunt size of a much unnecessary backlash for the show. The show's ratings severely dipped after his casting of the Doctor. Now, again, some of these things happen to tie into his portrayal of the Doctor. Not necessarily his portrayal, but the the characterization of the Doctor's character, especially during his first season, wasn't really the strongest, and the Doctor really didn't come off as strong as neither Matt Smith's Doctor or David Tennant's Doctors before him. Very similar to what Colin Baker has experienced during his tenure as the Doctor. However, since then, as I previously mentioned, Colin Baker sort of got a second life on Big Finish to the point where now he is a lot of people's, I wouldn't necessarily say favorite Doctor, but he's definitely a lot higher on a lot of people's brains thanks to his amazing work for Big Finish. Obviously, people who haven't checked out the Big Finish roles that Colin Baker has appeared in as the Sixth Doctor wouldn't necessarily be aware of that major improvement of the Sixth Doctor character. But here's hoping that Capaldi's Doctor can get a second life in a very similar vein to what Colin Baker's Doctor has received. I will say this though, since his departure from the show, I have seen, rather every day, I'm seeing more and more people coming out and saying that he's actually their personal favorite Doctor. So maybe he wasn't quite as underrated as I originally thought. But especially during his time as the Doctor, I don't think he got the love he deserved. Only after he left was when people really started to appreciate him more as the titular character. Now, very, very close to leaving the role. As a matter of fact, I believe about 1 year after he left the role of the 12th Doctor, he voiced the character Rabbit in the Ewan McGregor movie Christopher Robin. It was a relatively smaller role compared to what I was expecting. It's a shame that his role as Rabbit was severely reduced, but I am happy that that we at least got to hear the amazing vocals of Peter Capaldi in this movie. I'm suddenly realizing that once again, as I mentioned this earlier, the StreamYard has been cruel to me, and it deleted a couple very important pictures that I actually uploaded earlier today. But he actually did have a major role in what was it? World War Z, playing a doctor in the World Health Organization, WHO. So one could argue that he was a Doctor Who before he was Doctor Who. He also, again, I apologize, StreamYard keeps doing this to me. It deleted all the pictures that I've uploaded earlier, which is why I forgot about that. So I blame StreamYard for that. But he also has, I mentioned last week's episode that John Pertwee has two major iconic TV roles that one could be argued over the other as the more major role that he has. It was kind of the same thing for Peter Capaldi's Doctor, whereas both, rather the difference is that after leaving the role of Doctor Who, John Pertwee got a second life playing the character of Wurzel Gummidge, while for Peter Capaldi it was the opposite, where he actually has had a major iconic TV character role prior to being cast as Doctor Who. So one could argue that Doctor Who was his second coming as a major TV actor. But obviously, again, I apologize, I can't upload the picture again, but I am referring to the character of Malcolm Tucker in the BBC TV show the thick of it. He also appeared as the character of Malcolm Tucker in a film spin-off of that show called In the Loop. And obviously, to end off this Peter Capaldi flavored tangent, most people would probably recognize him for one of his more recent roles, playing the Thinker in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, which I actually like that movie more than most people, and I actually like his portrayal of the Thinker a lot more than most people do. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and say it. He was a much better Thinker than the Clifford DeVoe Thinker in the Flash TV show. Different Thinker, completely different character overall, but my thoughts on the fourth season of The Flash aside, I think Capaldi nailed it as that character in that movie. I'm still a bit hesitant to watch that movie for other reasons that don't necessarily have to do with Capaldi's portrayal of the character, but it's definitely a movie that, while I like it, I don't know if I could watch it again for certain scenes that I have no intention of seeing it ever again. But like I said, I really like the movie, and I will eventually rewatch it at some point in the future, in the near future. Now we move on to Peter Capaldi's immediate successor and the first official canon female actress to play the role of the Doctor, Jodie Whittaker, and she's actually still, technically speaking, the current Doctor. She hasn't exactly given up her role just yet. I mean, she has, but she hasn't. She still has one more movie in the can, waiting to happen, waiting to be broadcast to the world during the vastly approaching BBC centenary celebration. Her first major film role was as the title character Venus in the movie Venus, as well as making appearances in two short films, namely Wish 143 and The Kid. She also has appeared in I believe it's a TV show. Sorry, she also has appeared in a 2009 movie called Perrier's Bounty, and she also has a small role in Attack the Block. She also has appeared in the musical Good Vibes, and we mentioned earlier that David Tennant has appeared in Saint Trinidad's 2. She actually appeared in both Saint Trinidad's movies. I have no idea what they are. I have literally never seen either one of them. I just know because I did the research. She also has appeared in She also has appeared in a 4-part BBC drama, Trust Me. I'm guessing you have to trust her because she's a doctor. Weirdly enough, these actors have been playing doctors before they played the Doctor, which is pretty interesting to me. I had another role that I wanted to bring up earlier, but once again, as I mentioned, it was deleted because of the stupid StreamYard thing. But yeah, Adult Life Skills is the other movie role that I intended to bring up. But as I previously mentioned, StreamYard decided to play tricks on me again and delete the pictures. And maybe I should consider uploading less pictures in the future. Who knows? But yeah, the final actor that we will be discussing today is the most recent actor to take on the main role of the Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa. Obviously, most people probably know him from his breakout role in the Netflix show Sex Education. We can see him right there on the poster to the left. And to be honest, I've only seen one episode of the show so far, but his character has the best fashion sense out of all the characters in the show, and I can totally see every single one of the clothes that he was wearing in any clips from that show that I've seen. I can totally see that as the Doctor's main fashion sense going forward. He also has appeared in one episode of Bob Bob's Servant and two episodes of the TV show Stone Mouth. Uh, he also has appeared in and he also has two major movie roles under his belt. Uh, the 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 last letter from the last letter from your lover, and Masters of the Air. Actually, no, I think that's a TV again. Freaking StreamYard. I got confused, but yeah, Masters of the Air is the other major TV role that Shutikakwa has, other than Doctor Who and Sex Education, obviously. And the other movie that I wanted to mention is called Horrible Historians, the movie Rotten Romans. The Romans. I have no idea what that movie is about. I never seen it. I just know it because I did research for this episode, which apparently was completely in vain because StreamYard once again decided to play hardball with me. He has one more major movie role that still has yet to be released, and actually I believe will release after he will already have started his run as the 14th Doctor. But he's actually playing Ken in the upcoming Barbie movie, which I guess now gives me a reason to go watch that movie. I tried watching Sex Education to get a better appreciation of him as an actor, and I think I said this several times before on various different shows on this channel. I just really couldn't get into it, not because of him. It was several other stuff going around in the show that really kind of turned me off from watching the show. But of the one episode that I did see from that show, the only thing I liked was him as one of the main characters on the show. So maybe I'll go back and try to give the show a second shot, if for no other reason than just to watch him as one of the main characters. But to quote a beloved toy, outlook not so good. But yeah, I am very much excited to see him as the 13th Doctor, and I might, and this is I might, actually go ahead and try to give the upcoming Barbie movie a shot. Who knows? At least just to see how he's going to do in that movie, and might give me a new perspective of him once he actually debuts as the 14th Doctor later next year. But that is a story for another time. Once again, I apologize for the messiness of today's episode. This is definitely not how I intended this episode to be. I had a ton of behind-the-scenes issues, mainly with the thumbnail that I made. I actually pretty like this funny, quirky thumbnail, but yeah, my computer was really trying to sabotage today's episode in so many different ways, and it looks like it succeeded. But I managed to salvage a pretty okay looking episode out of this. Again, I apologize. Hopefully this hadn't deterred you from watching more episodes of the show, because I really do put my heart and soul into making these episodes as good as I can, despite some intervention from StreamYard. In any case, this is me. This has been me trying to break down a list of roles from before and after the title role of Doctor Who for every single Doctor, at least from the main series. Next week will hopefully be a lot smoother because there are only two Doctors to discuss, and maybe a few bonus ones that I will consider adding. We will be discussing the 1986 movie Paul McGann Doctor, as well as the 50th anniversary Doctor John Hurt. So yeah, clearly a lot of roles for me to choose from, But like I said, that is reserved mainly for next week. So hopefully, StreamYard won't be a B word to me next week. But regardless, this has been me. And honestly, all I really want to do right now is just to wrap up this episode. So yeah, I can be found all over. I'm sorry, on this channel in the Northern Countdown, alongside Soda and Ben. Soda can also be found on another show on this. Soda and Ben can also be found on another show on this channel together. Northern Rewind. Soda is also on this channel in the Squared Slice. We talked about wrestling. Ben can also be found on his channel, the Multiverse of Geekdom. He does all kinds of weird, cool, fun stuff there with a group of people. So I highly recommend checking that out. I also have my own YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek. I do all kinds of fun stuff over there. Going back to this channel for a second, we also have a show talking about, I would say, lesser television, but some of the stuff we talked about today might actually get mentioned at one point or another on that show. It's called Have You Seen This? With Snark, Daniel, and occasionally Dave. We also have, Soda and Ben have also recently appeared in another installment of the Geek Gauntlet over on Taco's channel. Let's talk. Something to talk about. She also has various other shows with tacos in the title name, and also our good friend Jess the Kiwi has her own channel. She does all kinds of fun dissenting into madness related stuff on her channel, Kiwi Jess, or rather Jess the Kiwi. I keep mixing those two up. But yeah, this has been me doing an incredibly messy but salvageable episode of the greatest show in the galaxy, and hopefully next week will be a lot better. So until the next week, best wishes and goodbye for now.